Hi, I'm Coach.Silliman, and this is basically just lacrosse ladder drills for anybody who would like them. As an old lacrosse player and a coach, depending on if you coach in high school, coach in rec, it can be difficult to find drills for the kids to do that do multiple things at once. And one of the things I've noticed with a lot of my kids is footwork being an issue, as well as their handwork. And a lot of times when you're coaching rec or you're coaching something where you don't have as much time with them, you run into the problem of, how do I get these things in the class, how do I get them to do this, as well as how do I condition them? So that's what these are for, is essentially do conditioning, handwork, and footwork to try to make your kids better on the field. Before we do the first drill, a couple shouts out. First off to Edgewood Lacrosse. I grew up playing in Edgewood, Maryland, so I want to send a shout out to them. As you can see, my stick is old school scarlet, black, and white. My school colors with Rams dot on there. And also to the Ashburn Bandits, where I coach now and both my sons play. In fact, I have two bandits who are going to help me out. My sons, Michael.Silliman and Liam Patrick.Silliman. So our first drill is pretty much just to work on footwork, as well as you're doing your crossover. So what you have the kids start with is they're going to hit every square. They're going to put each feet on each one, and they're going to keep moving up as they go. As they go, have them do a crossover so they kind of get used to their feet and their hands moving at the same time. And you'll see how it goes. I'll just work my way up, and then I'll have one of the boys do it as an example. And don't laugh at the old defenseman's crossover not being necessarily the greatest thing on earth. This is why I play defense, right? And here you go. This is watching my oldest son, Michael.Silliman, doing that exact same drill. He's going to work it up. He's going to work his crossover. And it's always good to have your gloves on when you're practicing as you play in your gloves. I know I wasn't because I'm old and I get to do it that way. Good, Connor. Very good. Get your crossover on. Okay, drill number 2 is pretty much the same exact thing, except you got to understand too, when you're coaching your kids, teaching them to get that stick away from a defender. So all we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to turn our hips at the end, protect the stick, go through the next side, cross over, and protect the stick. So exact same kind of drill, except we're going to work our way up and down just by spiraling through at the end. So come across, turn your hips. And I forgot to cross over, but that's okay. I'm working my dominant hand, right? Add the crossover in there if you like, and that will help the kids kind of work through and keep the stick protected, especially when you have someone on you. All right, so this time, Connor, remember to do the crossover to show that can be done. Don't be as bad as your defenseman father. All right, go ahead, go. We get across, we step through, and notice he's going a little bit slower. I'll be honest, this one took a little bit for the kids to kind of get when we've done it. We're also going to do a back step lunge too. That one took a little bit, so just understand sometimes it's better to have them walk through it, get the footwork first, and then they'll get a lot quicker as they go through. Thank you, Connor. Okay, the next one we're going to do is basically a nice little drill to work our throw cradle as we go. So many of the kids know how to do a power cradle, regular cradle, one-handed cradle. However, the throw cradle I find is something they're not always used to, and that's going to make their throws more accurate. It's going to make their shooting more accurate overall. So what I find I've been working on is starting in the ladder from a throwing position. We're going to hit each foot in the ladders as we go, and we're going to put our throw cradle on as we do it. Nice thing with this too is you can make them go backwards, the same kind of idea. And they can work their throw cradle and make it. When you do this, remember you can always have them use their left hand as well. Connor's left-handed anyhow, so it works for him. But I make him work his right as well when we go back and forth. All right, go. Work it backwards.
Sorry, I'm not as good as my right. And make sure you stay in the box too.
Next drill is a simple cradle, and all we're going to do is kind of work on getting the kids up on their toes to move. So it's going to be a simple in, touch it out, as you just do your regular cradle. You should see their feet getting a lot faster as they go. You can have them do one side up, and then on the way back, they work their other hand in cradle as they go. You can substitute a one-handed cradle for this as well if you wanted to, but anything works. Okay, and next we have Liam Patrick.Silliman up. Watch the little man's feet as he cradles and moves. This one's really good for the younger kids. They get them kind of moving and use the cradling at the same time, staying up on their toes. Go. back, Liam. There you go. It's okay. Get the ladder, you just keep going. All right, next thing we're gonna do is gonna help kind of with some of your dodges. I know everybody likes to spin dodge, it's easy to teach. Well, the kids think it's easy to do, put it that way. So the ladder actually kind of helps with this. When you think about trying to teach your spin dodge, you're trying to get them to stay on the line. When you're doing it on the field, sometimes you use the line. What I found is using the ladders also helps, try to get the right movement. So you have them start in one of the first two boxes, they've got their stick, they're cradling away from the guy. What you're gonna have them do is shift their weight, stay in the box, and do their crossover all at once. So this way they get the idea of going down a straight line and not spinning out away from the actual goal or where the target is. Okay, so Liam's gonna demonstrate kind of how to do this. Notice little man is still working his crossover. Go ahead, Liam. Spin back, there you go. Spin back, there you go. He's good with his right hand yet, he's still working on that left hand, but you can still get the kids to kind of start learning to stay in the line as they do their spin. Keep working it, because we would like to see a crossover, but he'll get there. He's only 6, he's doing great. So my older son's now going to demonstrate. Once you get a little bit older, you should be doing a crossover as you do your spin. Go ahead, Connor. There it is. I know it gets tricky. You get watch your feet while you do your crossover and your spin. Keep the stick away from them. Bend your knees a little bit. Keep doing it. There you go. You're just like Connor Fields there, Connor. Amazing. All right, now for the fun stuff, the defensive drills. So what we'll do is use the ladder essentially to kind of work on your kids' defensive footwork, as well as doing their checks and other things as they're going to be moving through. So what I like to do is start, and as you do any of these things, depending on how much time you have, you can turn it into a workout yourself. You know, 1, 2, 3 times through with each one is always good. So with this one here, I have them start in, they get into their nice squat, and we go through with Z's. And I get my own footwork right. And we work the Z's. And then you have to do your W's back. We do our lifts. We stand a good squat. It works. And then you can always do your figure eights. You can have them do these as many times as you want. And it definitely works. All right, let's see it, boy. Stay in a good stance, don't get too wide. All right, go back with your W's. There you go.
Honestly, W's are more for basically ground balls to lift their stick.
Oh, to cause it. All right, do your figure eight, come on.
I'm not that good at this, so please don't judge me.
Watch your foot, you're getting too far. There we go. Keep your foot fitting. Okay, next what we do is work our slap check, as well as kind of getting our breakdown stance. So I find kind of going through and doing hopscotch works pretty well. So we're in, we start in the box, throw our check, the whole way through. It's nice when you're outside, you have more space, and you turn around and go back. I'm thinking Tyler Durkin right there, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, little man, you're up. Go ahead. Show us how it's done. There you go. Good checks. Beat the man in front of you, as always. And Connor's up with his favorite check, his slap check. Go ahead. Throw your slap. There it is. Defensive guy and defensive coach, one of the most difficult things I have to teach is not lunging at someone. You know, a simple back step, and I find a lot of the kids want to lunge right at a guy, and as soon as you do that, you've lost and they're running right by you. So what this next drill is really there for is to try to get the kids getting that muscle memory to always step back, as well as throw a poke check while doing it. You know, you want to think about throwing the check into the guy to give him, you know, to stop them, you know, as they're driving on you, and give you the chance to be able to break open, you know, break down and open up your hips to be able to move. So when we do it, I find what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with both feet in the box. I'm I'm going to lunge, throw my poke, step back, switch my hands, and throw it with the other hand. If done correctly each time, gives me the chance to work both hands with the poke check. And I work through the box by stepping up with the front foot when I have to. When you're coaching it, you can watch where's their weight, where's their feet. Are they getting their momentum going back? That step being backwards. I'll be honest, that one takes a while for them to get. Okay, Connor, you're up. Step back one, there it is. Sorry, Connor's not much of a right-hander. You can tell by the way he's having to switch. That's why we work it, to get better. We keep our weight in the right spot. We're not lunging at a man, we're stepping back with him. We're going to run with him, we're going to open our hips, and we're going to throw a check while we're at it to hurt him as much as possible, because that's what we do as defenders. Okay, the last few drills I have for you today are to help the defensemen, midfielders, whoever it is, with their back pedal and starting to learn to not plant their foot, but to actually keep their momentum by getting short and choppy. My uncle taught it to me when I used to coach defensive backs as the cha-cha step. If that works and you can have fun with it, by all means. But the whole idea is just to keep your momentum the entire time. You just redirect it. If it's slippy out, your cleats aren't good, you plant that foot, you slip, all of a sudden you're getting beat. So this kind of works with it. You can pretty much even have them learn how to do it in tennis shoes, because if done properly, even on a wet surface, you stop yourself from falling a lot. So when you're teaching it, I always use a ladder for this. So it's going to be 2 feet in, 2 feet out. You can have them throw a check, a poke, whatever you want as they're working it, but just get them kind of the idea of keeping the momentum, always moving back and forth. And then I'll show you how to kind of take the next step further. We'll do the W drill with it. So we're going in and out, in and out, in and out. And it's the same kind of idea as if you were running as a defensive back. You're in your back foot, and you're going forward already by not having to stop. All right, in the box, out of the box. Try to limit your footwork. Keep your momentum forward. There it is, Liam. Perfect, buddy. Good job, little man. Throw your check. Good job. All right, if you've done the W drill before, this is a great one for defensemen. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of different variations of this. If you've got a ladder, you can do this as well with the ladder. So what we do is we put out 4 or 5 cones, depending on how long your ladder is, depending on how much space you have. And partly why I shot it like this is to show you can do this in a limited amount of space. To be honest, I do a lot of ladder work when I'm working out, so I do it here. When I take out the boys and we practice, we do it outside. But this also can be done like this. So you set up your cones. What this is a pretty much fast break like drill. Same kind of thing we just did, except now we're gonna take a couple of extra steps. So I'm going to go through the ladder, moving up and back, break down each time, and weave as I go. So I'm coming down, check, getting over the ladder. And the idea is teaching them partly to break down, get their feet pumping and chopping, stops you from slipping, allows you to move back and forth. Go!
Fast break! Fast break! Fast break! Fast break! Fast break!
Okay, little man's turn. He's going to stay within it, seeing he's a little bit smaller. Go ahead, Liam. Go. Good feet. Good feet. Good job. Way to go, buddy. And a round of applause for my 2 favorite apprentices, Liam Michael.Silliman, Connor Michael.Silliman, who also is doing the filming and editing of this. So he's doing good. It's my fault because I suck at this. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy.